Good morning, everyone. So thrilled to be here with you all on another Thursday. As you can tell, I'm in the Caribbean. I've been here for a little over a week. I came with my team to attend a matchmakers conference, and I decided to stay a couple days longer to recover. I spoke at the conference on a topic called what did I name it? Beyond the Binary, and I'm going to post my talk in a couple days when I get back to my office to show you all. It was beautiful. I got to speak in front of over 100 matchmakers across the world, and it was a way to connect. It was a way to educate, to elevate all of us. Some of us are newer matchmakers, and others are just very, very seasoned. Even there are matchmakers in the room that have like 30 plus years experience professionally matchmaking and being business owners and all of that. So they share tools and tips and ideas, and we're so incredibly generous with their knowledge and their experience, especially for those newbies. So it's Thursday, and I didn't want to miss this opportunity to be here with you all. And I'm going to cover the topic of sex, so 12 things to ask a new sex partner. But before I jump into my material for today, my talk, I want to thank those of you who have recently subscribed to my channel. There's been a big jump because I did Howard Stern about a week ago, which was an incredible opportunity. So much fun to be on the show with those guys. So I just appreciate the new subscribes. And for those of you who are with me every week, so appreciate your dedication and commitment to following me. It reminds me exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I feel valued. So thank you. And I'm going to just jump in. So again, 12 things to ask a new sex partner. We all know, right? Communication is important, even for casual partners, really important. You want to be on the same page with someone before you start a new sexual relationship, whether it's something casual or it could be something more serious. But how do you have that tough conversation? Do you need to interrogate them like a job interview? The answer is no. The dialogue you have with a new sex partner doesn't need to be stilted or formal. You can have a quick check-in in the car on the way to your place, or while you're making out, or even while having sex. I'm going to share some questions to ask to set you and your new date up for success quickly and painlessly. Questions to ask your partner about sex or hooking up in general. First, is there anything you definitely want to do, want to try? Maybe anything's on the table and you and your partner both want to see where things go. Or maybe oral sex is your new partner's favorite thing and is non-negotiable to them as foreplay or even the main draw of having sex. Is there anything you definitely don't want to do or try? Many of us have things we know we aren't interested in either because we find them triggering or unpleasant, or just because they don't do anything for us. It's entirely possible something you think of as a routine and objectively enjoyable is something your partner doesn't actually want to do. So it really pays to ask. Are there any medical conditions or physical accommodations needed that I should know about? It could be difficult and vulnerable to bring up medical or disability-related needs, and many disabilities or medical conditions may be invisible, not something necessarily legible from having a drink with someone on a first date. Someone might easily live with a pelvic floor issue like vaginismus or chronic pain, an invisible disability, and knowing how to accommodate them is so invaluable. Like somebody in a wheelchair, they'll likely appreciate you being direct and upfront and asking how you can accommodate them. That's more obvious, but there's so many that are hidden. Are there any body parts you don't want me to touch? From past sexual trauma to just being really ticklish, there might be places on someone's body that you could run your hands across that will totally ruin the vibe of your evening. Some people, like stone tops, may not want to be touched at all. Set yourself up for success on your first date, knowing about this stuff ahead of time, or even second or third date when you're hooking up. Is there language you don't want me to use for your body? Both cis and trans people often have strong feelings about the words used to describe their bodies. Some people exclusively call their genitalia their pussy, while others find the word indescribably rude. And of course, some people couldn't care less about verbiage one way or another. It can be tough to get back in the flow of things after pausing to stumble over the right terminology in the moment, especially if you get it wrong. How can you show me how you like someone to touch you? No matter how experienced you are, it's impossible to read minds. Everyone's body is different, and the first time having sex with a new partner necessarily involves a little trial and error as you both figure out what the other person likes. You can skip right past a lot of trial and error if you can be vulnerable enough to ask for a demonstration directly. You have your partner show you how they like to masturbate, they take your hand, and they show you the best way. Questions to ask your partner about kink and power dynamics. Do you want to top, bottom, or switch? If particular queer sexual dynamics are important to you, it's possible you've already scoped out your new partner with exactly this in mind. Not always, though. It's not unheard of for two people to really hit it off over 3 dates before finally discovering they're both bottoms. It's never a bad idea to just ask the questions. This also helps you avoid falling back on overly broad stereotypes. It's entirely possible you finally get that hot, buff butch in their leather jacket home, only to find they're a strict bottom. Having an upfront conversation is the best way to avoid making assumptions. What kind of kink activities are you most interested in? Some people are crazy about impact, but hate the idea of being tied up. Some people want to be suspended in rope, but not experience any pain. Some people want basically entirely vanilla sex, but only within a role-played power dynamic. If you're going to get into anything in the neighborhood of BDSM, it's important to have a really concrete and specific conversation about what you want to do and what you don't want to do. What about those activities feels good to you? Like, what feels good about these activities? Well, it's definitely possible to have satisfying encounter with somebody just based on the knowledge of your shared sexual interest. Sex often is way better if you both understand a little about why you like what you like, especially when it comes to kink. Someone who likes impact play because they get off on the idea of discipline and punishment, for example, is having a totally different experience than a masochist who likes impact because of the physical sensations of pain. It's really helpful to know the difference. Is there anything you definitely don't want to do? Whether you're talking about kink or vanilla sex, it's always helpful to establish everyone's hard limits, including the tops limits and boundaries. Being a top doesn't mean you have to be down for everything. Are you also interested in sex as part of BDSM play, or are those separate for you? For many people, kink is part of or foreplay too, more conventional sex involving penetration and orgasms. For others, they're completely separate. They want to spank someone or be tied up and then go home, maybe even with all their clothes on. Obviously, determining what kind of experience both of you are signed up for is really critical before you get anything started. And don't make assumptions. This is why you've got to communicate. What does aftercare look like for you? It's not uncommon to experience BDSM scenes as intense on an emotional and psychological basis. Many people benefit from extra gentle attention and care after a scene is over, including tops. It's helpful to know a little about what that looks like for your partner, so you can be prepared and maybe have some preferred drinks or snacks on hand. I don't know if you heard that bird just now. Well, they have lots of ideas too. Anyway, that's my talk for today. And thanks all for joining me. And I will see you next week. Make sure to take care of yourself, and sending you big kisses and hugs. Take care, everyone.